Just a few days ago, we were in Washington, D.C. for our first live forum. And this was specifically geared toward pastors. So this was an IPSI pastors event that Olga and myself put together, along with Pastor Roger Cheeks of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. So it was an IPSI and IFCJ collaboration. It was great. We had an amazing time. We keep it intimate on purpose. So we had about 20 pastors that were there from Virginia, from DC, from Maryland. Some of our IPSI ambassadors came out. So that picture there you see is Tim Lateef all the way to the right, and then Rabbi Yaakov Hadani right next to him, and then Jasmine Aljuni on the far left. And of course, that's me and Olga. A lot of it was our collaboration with Reverend Duggar and Reverend Thomas, the two pastors that were there in that area specifically. They pulled out the majority of the pastors, and some of them had no idea who we were. And by the end of that event, it was just there were some tears, there were some really great words exchanged. There's a lot of like, wow, I didn't know this, and can you come back, can you speak at my church? And so we're happy. IPSI is going to be doing more of these. As a matter of fact, we're already planning out what next year is going to look like. Each month we'll be in a different city having these conversations, the same intimate kind of setup, small group of pastors, empowering them, and then continuing to work with them after that. And our CEO said this during his talk with the pastors, is that he said often they didn't choose the Middle East conflict. The Middle East conflict chose them, especially when we're talking about Black pastors. A lot of these Black pastors have been confronted with propaganda, challenged with knowing what's going on, and they see other people hijacking the Black American story, using the language of justice, using the language of Dr. King and Bayard Rustin, and twisting it to fit their narrative. So a lot of pastors have been feeling like they have to know what's going on in the Middle East because people are expecting them to, because other people are using them or trying to use them for propaganda.
So even though Joshua explains the fact that we intentionally kept it at a very intimate number, around 20, the maximum that we'll be going for is 30, no more than that, is because we want to ensure that the pastors feel that they can ask the questions that they need to. There are some questions that need engaging, which you can't really do when there is a very big setting, either because we run out of time or they don't really know if they can feel comfortable. But because IPSI is not just about empowering by purposes of just here's what you need to know and then go away, but really unpacking what it means, because these pastors, like Joshua said, have got influence and they're going to be going back. And that is the purpose of this. It's not just let's come eat and let's come fellowship and let's come kind of maybe know what's going on. No, it's know and learn and know that IPSI is there to continue to give you resources so that you can go back and tell the truth and preach the truth and empower your people to themselves become informed and to do something, to actually make a stand. I was doing some of the admin this afternoon, and even though we reached our target of having 20 pastors plus some in the room, the impact of that by virtue of these pastors going back to their congregations, I calculated the numbers, is over 4,500. So imagine that. So if we do this properly, we have the potential to really and fundamentally transform and change the narrative, which is what the Institute for Black Solidarity is about. I also want to comment on the fact that it was so great to see our IPSI ambassadors. They have been with us now for 2 years. It's a journey that we've been traveling with them, engaging them on the regular, and by virtue of what we've been seeing already, but by seeing them engage themselves with the pastors in the room, once again affirm the fact that, and we give God glory for this, the IPSI model works. And in summary, that model is, it is not good enough just to parachute in and give people information, particularly the Black community. It's not just enough to galvanize them and say, oh, we need your support, come and say something, come and do something. But no, there has to be the continuous unpacking of these issues, ensuring that there's an understanding on a personal level, understanding on a communal level. What does this mean? How does this apply to the situation that's going around? And so to see them very excited to be with us, to see them also contribute was fascinating. Some of the topics that we discussed, first of all, looking at the biblical foundation of why it's important for Christians to stand with Israel and the Jewish people, the politics of it here in the United States, as well as looking at the politics of it as it pertains to the narrative around Palestinian human rights. We also had Mr. Simon Deng, who we love dearly. He's become a great friend of IPSI, he came and he shared his personal story, also highlighting that this is a war of radical Islamism, and how this is an evil that is common to both Israel as well as Africans. And so it's not just about the Jews. This is very much our fight as well. And then I had the privilege of speaking on Vision 50, why the Africa-Israel relationship is so very important. What did I say? 50-50? My good gracious, that's a long time to come. No, 2050. Thank you. So Vision 2050, why Africa is going to be more and more so taking up a very prominent role in not only the fight against anti-Semitism, but also the prosperity of the continent, as well as great relations with Israel. So it was a wonderful time.